Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Yue Eats. I'm Yue. We're back in one of my favorite neighborhoods. We're in Manhattan, Chinatown, and while I was in the real Chinatown not long ago, Flushing's Chinatown in Queens, Manhattan Chinatown not so bad either, although it has become quite a bit more touristy than before, but still a great spot. There's lots of great eats here. I'm actually right across from one of my favorite dessert spots around, Chinatown Ice Cream Factory, for a lot of Chinese, Asian kind of themed ice cream flavors. I highly recommend you check it out. We are here not for dessert. We are here to get some soup dumplings, something that is kind of hard to get where I live in New Jersey. So we're gonna be eating at the most famous soup dumpling place in all of New York, maybe even one of the most famous Chinese restaurants in New York in general, Joe Shanghai. Now, when I first moved to New York, I thought Joe Shanghai was so great, but lately I feel like there are better options for soup dumplings, but I haven't tried it for many years now, so I've been meaning to give it another chance to, see if maybe it was kind of an overcorrection on my part, where before I thought it was amazing because I'd never had such good soup dumplings before. Then I ate at other spots. I felt like some other places like Nanchang were better, but maybe now I've overcorrected and maybe Joe Shanghai is actually still pretty solid. There are some people who think it's a tourist trap, but maybe that's an overcorrection and maybe it's actually still pretty decent. It's just that there are a few better options. So we are going to check out the most famous soup dumpling spot in New York and one of the most famous Chinese restaurants in New York City, or at least in Manhattan, and see if it lives up to the hype, Joe Shanghai. So let's check it out. Thank you. Okay guys, we are seated now at Joe's Shanghai. Not Joe Shanghai, it's Joe's Shanghai, it seems like. Mask off. And yeah, it's a pretty large restaurant. I think they actually have a few locations, and some are a little bit more spacious and wide open, such as their Midtown location, but this Chinatown location is a little bit more cramped. It's so cramped that, they kind of have us pretty close to the other table. They just kind of separated two tables. And yeah, the service here, really, really quick, really efficient, although don't exactly expect Michelin star service here. It is Chinatown after all, and not one of the fancier restaurants. But as you can see, one of the rooms on the far left is being cut off, but it's a really spacious space, although it is very narrow. Let's quickly take a look at the menu here at Joe's Shanghai. And yeah, as I pointed out earlier, keep in mind that this place is cash only, not unusual in Chinatown, but something to keep in mind. So make sure you come with cash. They do have ATM machines on the outside, but they'll really own you with their fees. So best to come prepared. And they're also kind of, flexing their accolades about them being the best soup dumplings and winning all sorts of awards and things like that. Now, while they do have a lot of menu items here, including Peking duck, to be honest, the main thing to get here really is the soup dumplings. And they're actually here in the appetizer section. So, don't go flipping past them trying to look for them in like the main course sections, like the seafood and the beef sections. They're appetizers, and that's the main thing to get here. And both the crab meat soup dumplings and the pork soup dumplings are popular here, but the pork meat ones are the more standard. I used to love the crab meat ones before I was allergic to crab. It was like one of my favorite things to eat in the whole city. But sadly, I cannot eat crab anymore, so I gotta go with the pork ones. And I gotta say, these prices have definitely gone up. 15 bucks for 8 soup dumplings, 13 bucks for 8 non-crab ones. I remember when these were $7 for 8. So I guess Chinatown is not immune to inflation either. I remember the Midtown location having a bit of a price bump, but if even Chinatown is above $11, $12, then Oh, that really is unfortunate. But let's order some soup dumplings and see if it's worth the hype, why don't we? Besides the soup dumplings, we're gonna go with something called sijidou, but it usually will be called in English like sauteed string beans or something like that. It's like a really fried, crispy string beans served with pork, and it's quite nice. It's one of my favorite vegetable dishes of all time. Yeah, I guess Tina might order 1 or 2 other items, and she said that according to her friends, this place isn't that good besides their soup dumplings, so appreciate you, Tina, for coming here with me, because sadly, Tina does not eat pork, so hopefully she'll find something that she likes to eat here, so let's order.
Well, it's interesting, like their Chinese name is very different from their English translation.
Oh.
Because this place is technically called A Deer Calling for Spring.
Oh.
But they translate it to Joe Shanghai.
Maybe they feel Joe Shanghai is more marketable for American audience. Interesting. A deer chasing spring.
Calling for spring.
Oh, a deer calling for spring. 嗨，我们来一笼小笼包，猪肉的，和一个四季豆，and then what do you want?
然后要一个萝卜丝酥饼，然后再来一个那个家常豆腐。就这样。
好，谢谢。Always get to practice my Chinese whenever I get a chance. So the food should come pretty quick. Chinese restaurants, you won't wait long. So let's just wait.
我也不知道为什么有一个服务员刚刚来把我们这个都给打开了。
Oh, 谢谢。All right, so Tina ordered something that I'm not very familiar with. These are turnip cakes, basically, and even though this place is not really known for anything besides soup dumplings, hey, this looks good to me. I mean, in my ignorance, I feel like this looks pretty good. Like, look at that flaky pastry around it. Like, it's almost like a nice flaky pie.
This is the other side.
Yeah, that's the other side. Oh yeah, I was gonna flip it, but look at that. Look at those crispy sesame seeds on the bottom. Not bad, right? So you got crispiness on the bottom, you got flakiness on top, and you got some turnip on the inside. That might be a better angle. From this angle, for all you fans of my steak videos, this almost looks like a Chinese vegetarian beef Wellington or something, but tiny. Let's try one of these. It'll be my first time eating one of these. All right, first bite. Not bad. What do you think? Not bad, right? I will always admit when I don't know what I'm talking about, and I have no idea what this is usually like. My gut reaction is that I feel like the top could be a little bit more crispy, like a little bit more flaky, and I also feel like the bottom is not quite as crispy as I was hoping for. I feel like the bottom is a little bit hard and dense, and I thought that the bottom was gonna be like a crisp. I don't know, maybe this is the way it's supposed to be. You wanna fill in a little bit, Tina?
I think the main part is the inside filling. Like that's the part like that I like a lot. Like I like the turnip that's like a little salty, but also pretty like umami flavor. And it's also like shredded into like small like strings. So when you eat it, it has like a nice texture.
Wow. Wow, look at this. Tina is schooling me. I'm gonna be out of a job soon. Soon it's gonna be Tina eats.
But do you like it?
Well, I guess I don't taste the turnip as much as the outside. So maybe that's telling.
Take a second bite. Maybe see if it changes it.
True, maybe I need to eat more deep into it. So Tina said it's more about the turnip filling, so second bite time. Oh, actually, that's not bad.
It's good, right?
All right, so Tina was right. It's actually pretty good. I think I just got unlucky. Like, I think maybe the filling, maybe there was just less filling in the bite that I took. Like, maybe some of the filling got, you know, smushed over to the side or something. But Tina's absolutely right. It's more about the filling. It does taste nice and salty. Umami was a great way to explain it. Like, it's mostly about eating that fresh, salty turnip on the inside, and the pastry on the outside, so to call it, is kind of just like amplifying that. So it is sort of like beef Wellington, almost in a way. I still stand by what I said in that I feel like the bottom could stand to be a little bit more crispy. Like, I do think the bottom is a bit hard for my taste, but it's still very, very good, and the filling is absolutely fantastic. So Tina ordered a great thing. Gonna knock this out, and hopefully this will tide us over until the dumplings arrive. Oh, here it is. Oh yes, baby, look at that. That joy you feel when that steam just comes out once they open the lid. Like a wonderful magical trick. Instead of pulling a rabbit out of the hat, you'll pull some soup dumplings. And that's the world I would like to live in, when magicians pull dumplings out of the hat instead of a rabbit. Because what am I gonna do with a rabbit? I can eat a dumpling though. All right, Tina just corrected me and said that these are not technically dumplings, they're technically baozi, or baos as people call them. So, all right, Tina, Mrs. Know-it-all, knows everything. But actually, you know what? The price may be higher than I was expecting, but these are actually bigger soup dumplings than I'm accustomed to or remember. Yeah, you can go ahead and take one. Like, it might be really hard for me to show you. I guess I'll try to show you for scale, maybe with this spoon. But as you can see, it's actually, the dumplings are, or the baozi are a pretty good size. Now, it looks like that one might have leaked due to that liquid on the bottom, but otherwise, I haven't had xiaolongbao in a long time, soup dumplings, and I cannot wait to dig in. I'm hoping that this is a skin that, like, good soup dumplings have a good combination of thin skin where it won't really mask the filling and the pork, which is the best part, but it also needs to be thick and strong enough where it's not gonna fall apart when you try to take it out. So, Joe Shanghai, most famous soup dumpling spot in New York. Whether that title is deserved or not, we will put it to the test. So, just gonna like claw machine my way over to the one that I want. Whoop. Yeah, first try. And that is a good sign when it doesn't rip, you know, by the inevitable stickage that's gonna happen. Now, the way that I usually like to eat soup dumplings, you know, I know not all of you who watch this channel may be familiar with soup dumplings or how to eat them, but the way that I usually do it is that you bite a hole and then you drink the soup. So, gonna first bite a hole in this guy, bite a little hole. You can go right ahead and drink the soup, but I typically find the soup to be way too hot, so I actually have a thing where I typically will like kind of blow the dumpling up like a balloon to cool it down. Yeah, this is the UA Eats soup dumpling tactic. Blow it up like a balloon just to cool it down, otherwise you're gonna scorch your mouth. And then once it's potentially sufficiently cooled down, drink the liquid inside. All right, Tina made the mistake of, you know, eating it too quickly. She should have followed the balloon method. Huh. This one actually didn't have too much broth inside it.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I just got unlucky.
Mine has a lot.
Oh, really? Because that one looks like it leaked, but I might have just got unlucky and maybe there's just not much broth in it. But no matter, bad luck happens. You gotta eat it with this vinegar though. This is a vinegar and ginger mixture. So, you know, it's up to you. Some people like to try to put it on the inside. Some people even like to add the vinegar while they're drinking the soup to kind of have like a vinegary broth mixture. Me, you know, I like to kind of put the vinegar straight on top after I've drank the soup. I don't know, like I just kind of like eating it this way. There's no right or wrong way to eat it, and I'm sure people in the comments are gonna be judging this tactic, but you know, just however you want to eat it. So, now that we got some vinegar, let's take a bite. Okay, so there was more broth than I thought. I guess some of it might have, a lot of the broth was clinging to the meat on the inside, but I guess I find the broth a little bit less strong in flavor than I was hoping for. You know, Nanxiang, Xiaolongbao, and other soup dumpling spots that I like, the broth is a little bit more fatty, a little bit more savory, and you know, I feel like this broth is a bit more bland than I even remembered. I don't know, maybe my tastes have just changed, but let's try another one. Let's see if this one has more broth. So to clarify, I know Tina just ate one. Tina does not eat pork for like religious reasons or anything. She just kind of is sensitive to it. So she can eat it in small portions, but she ate just one and she's gonna stop there. Just in case you guys go, what? But I thought you said she doesn't eat pork. You know, just to clarify. Balloon method. Then some vinegar. I actually sometimes like to get these ginger pieces on too. You know, so you get some nice ginger in every bite. And I still feel like there's not enough broth. Maybe they like leaked or something.
Really? Well, I ate has a lot of broth.
Okay. Now this is a nice chubby looking one, so this one is probably hoarding some broth. So, yep. Be really careful and no pun intended, gingerly lift them to your plate. I don't know, maybe my tastes have changed. Maybe when I first moved to New York, maybe my standards for soup dumplings were different. But I do remember them being more rich and fatty, even though that one did have more broth. I don't know. I'm a little bit let down, I think. I just remember, I mean, I feel like this place might have just fallen off. I remember when Joe Shanghai was a super popular spot, and I remember the soup dumplings being pretty oily on the inside, pretty fatty, and actually I had a friend from Shanghai, where soup dumplings originate from, and she actually told me that she didn't like Joe Shanghai because she felt like they were too oily. She felt like they were too fatty. This time they're less oily, they're less fatty, and that can be good in like a pure way, but they're kind of just more bland. You know, I'm all for, I mean, let me clarify, I'm not someone who has to eat things that are like fatty and oily to enjoy them. You know, I like Japanese food a lot, which is known for being more light and, you know, more simple, but I'm a little bit let down by this, and I don't know how much of it is that my standards have risen, but I think the quality might have just gone down. Let's bite this guy open, because we need to dissect dumplings in the name of science. So yeah, as you can see, this one is pretty soupy, and we can see the filling on the inside, and it does look juicy. It does look pretty generous too, chock full of the filling. Still, the liquid looks pretty clear, and that might be good. You know, my Shanghai friend might have been right, that with the clear liquid, that means it's not too oily, but I do feel like it is slightly lacking in flavor and a little bit bland. Like, I would like there to be at least some oil in there. So, I mean, what do I know? You know, it's just my opinion, and I am, of course, subject to my own tastes. By the way, look at how busy this place is getting. Just look. Like, you can, just look. You can see the line already forming outside, so we got here at a good time. Our other item has arrived, though. The sijidou, or sauteed green beans. Now, this is one of my favorite vegetable dishes of all time. Basically what this is, and you'll find this at most Chinese restaurants, or at least most authentic Chinese restaurants, is that basically these are deep fried string beans, and then I believe they're stir fried as well, alongside with some delicious things like garlic and pork and things like that, some nice savory flavors. So this one at first glance is not looking as crispy as some other ones I've had, but we'll give it a whirl. I don't know, they seem a little bit less crispy than ones I'm accustomed to. I mean, they don't look that crispy, but I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but after eating some, they don't taste super crispy either. Like, they're more so wrinkly than they're crispy. And the things they add for flavor, like garlic and pork and whatnot, I don't really taste much of that either. And I know it's concentrated over there, but still, the flavor isn't really singing through in the whole dish. So yeah, I mean, this is a very common vegetable. You know, like I said, you'll find this at most authentic Chinese restaurants, but A little disappointing that they didn't quite nail this one. That one's a letdown, not many redeeming factors. And now lastly, I guess we'll try this tofu dish that Tina ordered. This looks like some sort of like braised tofu dish with mushrooms, and yeah, actually this doesn't look bad. So we will try a bite of this before we call it a vid. And yeah, I'm liking this tofu. Still steaming hot too. Oh. It's also kind of spicy too, so I got really thrown for a loop. But let's try one more. And I do want to just comment on just how soft this tofu is. Like, it's got softness, but a slight rubbery texture on the outside, making for a pleasant textural experience. All right, this time, we're gonna cool this guy down. Just look at that tofu on the inside. It's very soft on the inside. The inside tofu is almost like silken tofu, while the outside, I mean, rubbery was not a good adjective. Kind of more like a pleasant skin. You know how like everyone likes chicken skin on fried chicken? It's not quite crispy like that, but it's like a nice pleasant skin surrounding the tofu. It's super wet and juicy on the inside. The inside just tastes like a flavorless tofu, but the outside really absorbed all the spicy sauce. And these are some pretty decent quality tofus, and I think they're like making these in-house probably, rather than just opening up a bag and pan frying the whole thing, so I can get behind this. This dish is a hit. This tofu dish was solid. This sauteed green beans, not so much. And the soup dumplings, I feel like I've had better. So I guess just gonna wrap up the video. You know, we're gonna slowly finish everything that we ordered, but I guess I'll just say that overall, Joe Shanghai, I mean, as you can see by that long line outside, even more than 25 years after their heyday, like Joe Shanghai is still a really iconic restaurant, and I hadn't eaten here in many years, so I just wanted to come and review it. But I guess I'll just be honest, I feel that I do think it kind of fell off. I know that non-soup dumplings dishes were never their specialty, but even the soup dumplings I found to sort of be a little bit lacking in stronger flavor and a little bit bland, and some of the soup dumplings that I ate just didn't really have enough soup in them. And lastly, the skin I do find also a little bit on the thick end. Like, they're a little bit thick and you know, not super thin, so they do slightly mask the filling a little bit. I think if you're new to New York Chinatown, you know, depending on where you are in the US or in the world, if soup dumplings is not something that you often eat, you know, I think Joe Shanghai could be a decent experience. I mean, believe it or not, it can kind of be fun to wait in line and to be in such a crowded restaurant. It's kind of part of the tourist experience. And if you've never had soup dumplings before, it's definitely still a solid option. But I do think there are better options. I will say Joe Shanghai, while iconic, I will say now that it's a little bit overrated and overhyped, and it is unfortunate that their prices have went up due to this. But anyways, that's just my take. Obviously, this is just my opinion, so what do you guys think? If you guys have eaten at Joe Shanghai before, recently, many years ago, what do you think of it? And what's your favorite place to get Chinese soup dumplings? And where do you think I should review next? Let me know in the comments, because great minds eat alike. And if you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. This tofu, not bad. Not bad, so gonna snack on this. So until next time, I'll see you later.